Hello everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. Today's case takes us to Taft Point on May 16, 2015. Taft Point is located in Yosemite National Park. Here are some maps to give you an idea of where in the park Taft Point is located, also the terrain. As always, I will have all my photo credits and sources in the description. Taft Point is at an elevation of 7,500 feet. It is a very popular destination because it gives you absolutely breathtaking views of Yosemite Valley. It is also a popular destination for other extreme sports. Today we're going to be talking about a legendary extreme athlete by the name of Dean Potter. This is Dean right here. Dean grew up in a military family. His father was in the army, so they traveled around and moved many times throughout his childhood and life. At a very early age, Dean became very fond of the outdoors. His mother was very into yoga. Not only did Dean's love of nature and exploration develop at a young age, but also his interest in spirituality. After 3 semesters of college, he left the university and he wanted to pursue his true passion, which was climbing, free soloing, anything to do with extreme sports. Dean Potter first arrived in Yosemite National Park in 1993. He met Chongo Chuck, who was already a legend at that time. He had a huge impact on Dean, and Dean got more involved in free soloing, extreme sports, any type of thing that could push himself to the limit. He quickly rose to fame within the Yosemite climbing group for his fast ascents, his amazing speed, his free solo abilities. Free soloing is when you climb up a mountain with no ropes, no safety gear, just a chalk bag. In 2008, he basically invented this new activity called freebasing, where he would do free soloing, but he added a small parachute that was meant to deploy very fast if needed. Dean was breaking records all over the place in Yosemite National Park and all over the world. Here's a picture of him and his friend Timmy O'Neill after breaking a speed record in Yosemite National Park. Here is Dean free soloing what is known as a dog's roof, which is one of the hardest free solo climbs in Yosemite National Park. Dean then got involved in what is known as highlining, which is basically walking a tightrope or a piece of webbing. He often did this without the safety of a tether or harness. With his other extreme sports, he took this to the extreme too. He crossed Lost Arrow Spire in Yosemite, pictured here. Just to put it into better perspective, this is the crossing point, that one top spot all the way across to the next spot. And this is a picture of someone else who is also highlining the Lost Arrow Spire in Yosemite. I should also mention that many of these activities that he started to do, the free basing, are all illegal in Yosemite and national parks throughout the United States. Dean always was saying, I don't understand why it's legal for me to free solo up there with no parachute, but it's illegal if I have the parachute. Despite often and always being at odds with not only the park employees and the law, Dean garnered many major sponsorships over the years, from Black Diamond, Patagonia, Cliff Bar. Dean himself was often under fire in the media. Also, he was in a lot of documentaries. I'm going to go over those later on. In 2006, he went to Utah and he free soloed the Delicate Arch in Arches National Park. This is a sandstone feature. It is the most famous natural occurring formation in the state of Utah. Here is a picture of Dean doing his free solo climb. At this time, Dean was married to a woman named Steph Davis, who is also an extreme athlete. They were both being sponsored by Patagonia. However, after the free solo of the Arch, Patagonia dropped both of them because it just sparked so much controversy in the media. Dean always said, though, that he was very lawful and respectful. He is quoted in saying, "I was just climbing a beautiful rock that hadn't been free climbed before." This also prompted the Park Service, at least in Utah, to ban these type of climbs on certain things such as the Arch, the Delicate Arch in particular. There also were tons of media articles calling Dean out, accusing him of this and that, But Dean always said that, he wasn't trying to do anything wrong, just doing what he loved and was very respectful of the land. Base jumping had become a huge part of Dean's life. He is designing his own type of wingsuits and parachutes. This is a picture of him base jumping in Yosemite, which of course is illegal. Dean also had a dog named Whisper who would accompany him on many of these base jumps. And of course, many people loved this. It of course sparked outrage in many other people. Dean eventually met a young man named Graham Hunt. He began apprenticing him. Graham was already a very experienced climber, free soloer. Both were always trying to get away from park police, avoid being arrested. And of course, the rangers and everybody knew that they were there. They just were never able to actually catch them. The more extreme and dangerous Dean got with his activities, he also was losing sponsors. He eventually lost Black Diamond, Cliff Bar. At the same time, National Geographic would still follow him around and make various documentaries about Dean Potter being one of the most extreme athletes in the world. He accomplished so many things just in Yosemite National Park alone that I can't even imagine the mental and physical ability, especially the mental focus that you would need to be carrying out these extreme activities where one error would cost you your life. On May 16th of 2015, Dean, along with his longtime girlfriend Jennifer Rapp, his dog Whisper, and his good friend Graham Hunt, who was only 29 years old at the time. Dean Potter was 43 years old on this date. Graham Hunt was probably one of the most prolific freebasers and base jumpers in Yosemite National Park at that time. His climbing skills were amazing. His free soloing skills were absolutely incredible. He was quickly becoming a legend himself. Also, he was living a little bit different of a lifestyle. He was actually working in Yosemite National Park. He was doing cleanup and various other odd jobs within the park. People who knew him said that he was a very kind, gentle spirit. He, like Dean and his girlfriend Jen, were all living in Yosemite National Park at the time. In fact, Dean Potter and his girlfriend had just bought around 31 acres that they were going to build some kind of residence on. Both these guys were very hard to miss. Dean Potter was 6'4", almost 6'5", 180 pounds. Both of these guys had jumped off Taft Point many times in the past. On this particular day, when they all arrived, it was late afternoon. The weather was a little uneasy. It was cloudy. There was occasional rain. The men both put on their wingsuits. Jen was going to be the spotter for this activity. The dog was not going to go on this base jump. Jen later recalled that there were absolutely no tourists. She only saw this one black bird, so it was a perfect time for base jumping. The two men went right before dusk. It was around 7:25 p.m. Dean Potter jumped first, Graham Hunt then followed. They were wearing different types of wingsuits. Graham Hunt's was built for speed. Jen was standing roughly 20 feet away at the time both men jumped off Taft Point. Dean Potter was always quoted in saying, "Anywhere else you go is just a compromise." Jen was trying to get shots of them jumping with the sunset and El Capitan in the background with the valley floor underneath. What followed very quickly was what she recalled as two thuds that were a couple seconds apart from each other. She wasn't sure what this was. She was hoping that it was the parachutes opening. Then darkness quickly descended upon Yosemite. She tried retracing the men's path through the camera pictures, but in 2 dimensions without depth perception, it was very hard to tell what happened. She could only tell that Hunt had passed Potter. She then got into her vehicle and headed down to the valley where they were all supposed to rendezvous, as well as trying to text Dean, get them on the radio, any type of communication, none of which was successful. She went back to the trail parking lot, then went down to the floor of the valley. She went to El Capitan Meadow. There was just no sign of anyone. She, of course, was in complete panic mode. At this point, she was hoping that the men had been arrested. She met up with Rebecca, Graham Hunt's girlfriend. At around 10:30, they went to Mike Gauthier's door. He was Yosemite's chief of staff at the time. He had told the women that they had not been arrested. It was at this point that they contacted the Yosemite search and rescue teams. They were all deployed. However, a search in Yosemite National Park at night is extremely dangerous, even for trained professionals. Throughout that night, it was impossible to find anything, and I can't imagine what it was like for the two women wondering what happened to their beloved partners. It wasn't until the next day, May 17th, when a state police helicopter was flying over and saw the two bodies. Neither parachute had been deployed. They believed that Graham Hunt had cleared the base of the notch going down, but having most likely entered a downward funnel on a diagonal path, he probably crashed into the right of wall and was knocked unconscious. There have been many theories about what happened to both men, but really it's not exactly known why neither of them were able to deploy their parachutes. This, of course, made national news because Dean Potter was a national celebrity, an international celebrity of sorts. Graham Hunt was an amazing man. He was an upcoming legend. He was doing very well. This was a tragedy all around for everyone who knew and loved them. Most people that choose this lifestyle or are involved in it to this day say that it's much more spiritual and it's much more of a calling than it is an actual job. They just feel it within inside themselves, and it's something they have to do. Despite the fact that many of these activities are illegal and many people would say they're crazy, it is so awe-inspiring to see what people are able to achieve. Looking at some of these pictures and just seeing some of these free solos and climbs and all these extreme activities that Dean Potter did, all these records that he broke, things that he created that had never been around before. Really is incredible what Dean Potter was able to accomplish in his 43 years on Earth, as well as Graham Hunt did amazing things and was known for being an amazing person, and sadly he only lived to be 29. There was a memorial laid on top of Taft Point with a pair of wings for both gentlemen, some flowers, and a heart. Although both men are gone, anybody who is in that community, and many more people, anytime they're at Taft Point or in Yosemite, will remember Dean Potter and Graham Hunt and the amazing extreme athletes that they were. For those of you that are interested, there are many movies and documentaries out there that Dean Potter made himself or in combination with National Geographic, such as The Man Who Can Fly, 2012, Moonwalk, 2011, When Dogs Fly, 2014, Valley Uprising, 2014, and many others. I'll have a list and more information in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, your comments, your feedback. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free and it really helps out the channel a lot. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. I would definitely like to hear your thoughts and feedback on this video, your thoughts on these extreme activities. I know, at least to my knowledge, base jumping and some of these other activities are illegal in all national parks. It's actually up to the superintendent. I believe there's one area or park in West Virginia where once a year people are allowed to come and base jump. To me, seeing some of the pictures of especially the free soloing, climbing with no ropes or no safety equipment, that to me, I just can't imagine. It looks so impressive, and just the mental and physical stamina one must have to do that is absolutely incredible. I hope everyone's having a great summer. I love hearing from you. Definitely send me some pictures of any outdoor adventures you might have taken this summer. All right, everyone. See you in the next one.